Someone has given up everything for you. They endured pain, faced darkness, and didn't hesitate for a moment. Nothing was easy, but even so, this person has no regrets. Now there's just one thing left: your response. Was everything that was done worth it? Do you recognize what it cost? There is no more time for indecision. What are you going to do with this love? Have you stopped to think about what this means? Everything was left behind, not out of obligation, not out of self-interest, but for you. Every open wound, every sleepless night, every tear shed, none of it was in vain. It was a choice, a total commitment. And now there's only one thing left. What will you do with it? Ignore it, pretend it didn't happen, act like it means nothing? You might try, but the truth will always be there. Because this kind of love doesn't disappear. It doesn't fade away or dissolve. It stands before you, waiting for a response. And the question is simple: do you recognize this sacrifice? Do you understand what was done? Because if you do, you can no longer remain still. You can no longer pretend this doesn't affect you. Silence is a response. Indifference is too. But is that what you really want to say? That all this love meant nothing, that everything endured doesn't matter to you? There are no more excuses. There's no more time to delay. The moment is now. What are you going to do? Because this love hasn't given up on you. But will you leave it waiting forever? If you feel that weight in your chest, that urgency, that truth wrapping around you and calling out, don't ignore it. You know you can't keep pretending this isn't meant for you. The answer is in your hands. But choose wisely. Some opportunities don't come back. Some loves don't wait forever. So now what will you do? Do you feel it, don't you? That restlessness, that presence that won't let you escape. Because the love waiting for you is not ordinary. It's not fleeting. It doesn't depend on your flaws, your mistakes, or how much you've tried to run away. But how long will you avoid it? How long will you pretend you don't understand? Because if there's one thing that can't be erased, it's the truth. And the truth is this: someone paid a high price for you. You can ignore it, you can distract yourself, you can seek other paths, but in the end, you'll always come back to the same question. What are you going to do with this love? It hurts to think about it, I know. Because accepting it means recognizing that you've never been alone, that even when you turned your back, someone stayed there, that even when you chose to walk away, this love continued to follow you. And now there's no more running away. The answer is right in front of you, not in the words, but in your choices. What will you do with this sacrifice? Will you let it be meaningless? Will you act as if it's unimportant? You can choose, you always could. But now time is passing. And what if today was your last chance to respond? If this were the last time this love reached out to you? Because true love doesn't force, doesn't hold on, doesn't impose. But it also doesn't wait forever for an answer that never comes. And you? Will you continue in silence? Or will you finally recognize what has always been there, right in front of you? What's holding you back from taking a step? From stopping the resistance? From admitting that this surrender was never in vain? You know the truth. You feel the truth. Now all that's left is to choose. So, I ask once more, straightforwardly, without excuses, what are you going to do with this love? You can feel the weight of that question now. It won't go away. It won't dissolve over time. Because this love is not just any love. It has been tested, it has been wounded, it has been rejected, and yet it still remains. But for how long? Do you think you can keep postponing? That you can maintain this distance without consequences? That you can pretend nothing happened and move on as if you were never touched by this truth? You can't. Because something inside you has already changed. Because deep down you know this love is different. It's not a love that demands, that charges, that insists. It's a love that waits. But how long will it wait? How many chances do you still need? How many more times will you turn your back? How many times will you ignore the one thing that has always been by your side, even when everything else walked away? This love asked for nothing in return. It gave itself completely. And now, it just wants to know one thing. Will you reciprocate? It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to fix anything before accepting it. Because this love has seen everything that's in you, the flaws, the fears, the falls, and still it hasn't given up. But you need to decide. How long will you keep postponing? How long will you carry this emptiness? How long will you try to fill it with things that will never be enough? What is still holding you back? What still chains you? What more do you need to see to understand that this love is real? Because there is a limit to time. There comes a moment when a choice must be made. And that moment is now. There are no more excuses. There's no more room for doubt. You know what you need to do. So I ask you once again, what will you do with this love? You are still there, standing before this choice. Perhaps you feel your heart racing. Maybe you're trying to ignore it. Maybe you want to run away, but you can't anymore. Because this question isn't going to disappear. It has already been planted inside you, and you know it. You can try to convince yourself that you have time, that you can wait, that you're still not ready. But is that really true? Is tomorrow guaranteed? Will this opportunity always be here, waiting for you? Don't fool yourself. Time passes, chances are lost, and what's left? Regret. The weight of having let something so significant slip away? Because if there's one thing you need to understand now, it's that this love doesn't need you to exist. But you need it to live. Without it, everything feels empty. Without it, everything loses its meaning. You might even try to fill the void with other things, but deep down, you know nothing will be enough. And still, you resist. Why? Fear. Pride. Do you think you don't deserve it? None of that matters. This love isn't asking anything from you. It's just here waiting for a response, but how long will it wait? This could be your last chance. The final moment before this door closes. And then what? Do you really want to take that risk? What are you going to do with this love? Because it has already chosen you. Now, it's just your turn to choose. Silence might seem like an answer, but it's not. It only postpones the inevitable. You can try to ignore this truth, you can pretend you don't understand, but deep down you know this choice has to be made. And it has to be made now. Time doesn't wait. Do you feel it? That urgency, that restlessness inside you? There's a reason for it. It's not a fleeting thought, it's not just any emotion, it's a call, and you know you can't keep putting it off. Because this love has already done everything. It has gone to the ends for you. And now the only thing that's missing is your response. But what if there isn't another opportunity? What if this is the moment that defines everything? Are you going to risk losing something so grand? Because once that door closes, there's no going back. So what now? Will you remain trapped in fear, doubt, resistance? Will you choose emptiness? Or will you finally accept what has always been waiting for you? The choice is before you, but not for much longer. And now, I ask you one last time. What are you going to do with this love? You feel it now. The weight of this choice, the impact of this question. It won't go away, it won't weaken. Because this isn't just any decision. It's a turning point. If you turn your back now, you may never feel this calling in the same way again. This opportunity might never come back. So, what then? Will you cling to fear? Will you pretend that none of this matters? Will you let silence be your answer? Or will you for the first time accept this love because it has already chosen you? It has already paid the price. It has already suffered, waited, endured everything. All that's left is you. But the decision can't be postponed forever, because at some point, time runs out. And when that happens, what will your answer be? Will you look back and realize you let slip away the one thing that truly mattered, or will you finally say yes? Now there are no more excuses. It's just you and this truth. So I ask you plainly, with no room for escape, what are you going to do with this love? The silence is heavy now. Do you feel that? The emptiness of indecision, the shock of facing something that can no longer be ignored? This love hasn't given up on you. It has gone all the way. It has endured everything. It chose you when no one else did. And you? What are you going to do now? If you turn away, nothing will change for it. But for you, it will be an abyss. Because you will never be the same after feeling this, after being confronted with this truth. You might try to forget, but there will always be something inside reminding you, I had a chance, I could have chosen, and what if tomorrow there isn't a new chance? What if this is the last call? You still have time now, you can still decide. But for how long? If you feel your heart racing, if something inside you is restless, don't ignore it. This is real. This is for you. But if you don't act now, it may be too late. So, I ask once more, directly to you, without hesitation. What are you going to do with this love? You feel that weight right now, don't you? This question is burning inside you, calling for an answer. You can try to ignore it, but you can't erase what has already been revealed. Because now you know. You know this love wasn't just any love. It didn't happen by chance. It wasn't a fleeting feeling. It was built on sacrifice, on devotion, on pain, endured without hesitation, all for you. And now? Now it's up to you to decide. There's no room for excuses anymore. There's no time to run away. Either you accept it or you turn away. But one thing is certain. You can no longer pretend you don't understand. What if today is your last chance? What if time is running out and you don't even know? Do you want to live with that uncertainty? Because this choice carries weight. And once made, there's no turning back. If you say no, you'll have to carry that decision forever. If you say yes, something will change within you. But it needs to be sincere. It needs to be whole. So, I ask you again, straightforward, without softening anything. What are you going to do with this love? Time is running out. The choice needs to be made. Do you feel that urgency inside you? That tightness in your chest, that silent voice that won't let you escape? It's not a coincidence. It's not just a fleeting thought. It's the truth calling you. And what are you going to do with it? Ignore it? Pretend you don't understand? Act as if nothing has happened? You might try, but you know you can't run away. Because this love has already gone too far for you. It has crossed pains you can't even imagine. It has endured rejection. It has waited too long. Now it's your turn. But don't think this love will force your answer. That's not how it works. It has always been free, always been sincere, and it wants your response to be the same. But what if this is your last opportunity? What if tomorrow silence is all that's left? Do you want to carry that regret? Because once that chance is gone, there are no guarantees. Now it's just you and this question, raw and real. What are you going to do with this love? There's nowhere left to run, no more excuses. It's now or never. Time doesn't stop. Every second that passes is a wasted chance, an opportunity that may never come back. Do you feel it? The tension in the air, the restlessness inside you. This is no coincidence. This love is right in front of you, not demanding or pressuring, but waiting. Waiting for a yes, waiting for a gesture, waiting to see if all the sacrifices were worth it. And you? Are you going to remain still? Are you going to pretend that this truth isn't pulsing inside you? Because if there's one thing this love has never done, it's force you. But what if this is the last time it calls you? What if this door closes? Because there is a limit. Not on love, but on time. You don't know what comes next. You don't know when it will be too late. And when it is, what will be left? The emptiness of a wrong choice? The regret of someone who had the chance to hold something eternal and let it slip through their fingers? Don't kid yourself. The answer you give now defines what comes next. If you say no, what awaits you? More of the same. Another cycle of frustrated attempts. More time wasted searching for something that will never be enough. If you say yes, what could happen? Something changes. Something aligns. Something inside you finally fits into place. But you have to take that step, now, because there are no guarantees that this door will be open tomorrow. So I ask you one last time, straightforward and unfiltered, what are you going to do with this love? Time is running out. You feel it, don't you? This love calls you, waits for you, gives you one more chance. But for how long? You can ignore it, you can pretend you didn't understand, but you can't erase this truth. You need to choose, because this opportunity won't be here forever. You can go on with your life trying to fill the void with things that will never be enough, or you can finally embrace what has always been right in front of you. It's not about deserving it. It's not about being ready. It's about taking a step. And now, the time has come. So if this love has touched you, if this truth has spoken to your heart, don't leave without taking action. Comment here. I recognize this love and choose to take a step. Hit like so this message can reach more people. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss content that can transform your life. The choice is in front of you, and time is ticking.